Teaching groups have appealed to the government to offer more children in England free school meals. Unions have written to the Chancellor and Education Secretary calling for an urgent expansion of the scheme. They want to see families on universal credit qualify to help them with the rising cost of living. Damien McNulty is an NASUWT union executive member for Merseyside and joins me now. So more and more children coming to school hungry, Damien, as the cost of living crisis bites. Tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely, Claire. The Food Foundation's latest data for the month of April this year shows almost over 25% of all pupils in schools are living in a household now who are struggling to get access to healthy food and are missing meals on a regular basis. It really has a massive impact on children's ability to concentrate, to learn, and also to attend school if they're not fed properly.
You just mentioned there, it affects their ability to concentrate. But, what other effects does turning up for school hungry have on children?
Well, it's a concentration issue, as you've said, but it also impacts on behaviour. I mean, I don't know about you, but round about this time of day, certainly if I've missed my lunch, I'm starting to get a bit hangry and ready for something to increase my sugar levels. And of course, if any of us experience that, whether through choice in my case, or by dint of not being able to have a meal, then that's a significant impact, and it affects children's attendance, their health, and also fundamentally their academic attendance, academic performance, I should say. And we have a government that, on the face of it, in Westminster, is committed to levelling up. Particularly in areas like the Northwest, and levelling up means not just a faster railway journey or more railway journeys, for example, in relation to HS2. It means being able to look after the young people and the communities that the children live in. This isn't Dickensian Britain anymore. We've moved away from that over 100 years ago.
And what would the NASUWT like to see happen?
What we'd like to see happen, along with other teacher and support staff union colleagues, representing over 1 million teachers and school leaders, by the way, the jointly signed letter. We'd like to see the extension, like we've got the commitment from governments in Scotland and Wales, where education's devolved. They're committed to universal free school meal offer now. Here we are in 2022 with a cost of living crisis that none of us could have ever foreseen. Many of our older statesmen and women in society and in our communities only experience these levels of crisis and hunger, really, back in World War II and post World War II, whenever rationing was still in place. I'm not saying that to sensationalise the issues. The issues of hungry children in school are present today and will be present next week when schools return and when children return after half term.
And should it be going that step further, Damien? What about universal free school meals? Would that remove any stigma?
Of course it would, yeah. Currently, families who are eligible for free school meals have to make an application in the first instance. And many of those families who are workers, perhaps on low incomes or as a result of being in the gig economy or having precarious employment, are unable, unfortunately, find that a stigma and a barrier, of course, to accessing free school meals. A universal offer is absolutely right and proper for every school-age child across England right now, as the Scottish and Welsh governments have pledged to do.
And what do schools do when a child turns up clearly hungry and doesn't have any money for a school dinner?
Claire, if I'm honest with you, I'm yet to meet a school leader or any member of school staff that's going to refuse a child a meal that needs a meal. The reality is that schools, fortunately, are meeting that gap, but as schools face an increase in their costs, not particularly around staffing, but around energy, around gas, the electricity that they're going to need to pay into the winter. Difficult choices are going to have to be made. we see the very real potential of parents who fall behind with payments for school meals where they have to pay, falling into arrears, school effectively having to police that, to chase that. That's not a position any member of school staff wants to be in with their parent or parents. It's a position of conflict that's completely avoidable. And of course, the reason that many, if not all, of those financial arrears arise in the first place is because parents and families are unable to make ends meet at home.
Are the government listening?
Well, we can only judge government by its actions and not its words. We hear lots of warm words and pledges from the government in Westminster on a whole range of things, but they need to be tested and judged by the delivery of those in the coming days and weeks. They've got a fantastic opportunity now. £20 per week was removed from universal benefit claimants only a few months ago. £20 per week, if you've got 2 school-age children, would not pay for 5 school meals for each of those children a week. The government has to get a grip. It can't continue to put more and more families and young children into poverty. Children are the future workforce of this country, and we want to make sure that we can provide the best educational opportunity to the young people, not just through the hard work of teachers and support staff and school leaders in schools, a position where they're able to learn to their full potential.
Damien, thank you so much for your time today. That's Damien McNulty, Merseyside Executive Member from the NASUWT union there. Must say, the government says it has expanded access to free school meals more than any other administration